That might be one of the best syrups I've ever made. That's good.
Let's make a gingerbread syrup. So we'll start by adding 2 cups of water into a pot, and we'll get that heated up. Then I'm gonna start with some ginger. Honestly, I don't think we need that much. I think just kind of like this size, a palm-sized nub is gonna be perfect. This goes a lot faster if you have a peeler as well, obviously. I'm gonna chop this up into discs. Normally, like if you have a grater, a cheese grater, I just grate it on that. It works fantastic. But since I don't have that, I'm just gonna cut this into small little discs. You think we can smash these? Yeah, if you just smash it with your palm, that's gonna release so much oils. And if you cut it vertically, if you didn't know this with ginger, if you cut it vertically, since all the threads go vertically, it just smashes super easy. My hands are gonna smell like ginger for days. Gingerbread needs spices, so that's what we're gonna add in. Got a ton of them. And we're gonna do all the classic spices you can think of with a little bit of a twist. This is anise seeds. We're gonna crush those in just a little bit. Don't want it to taste fully like licorice, but it does add a nice, unique depth. Same with cardamom pods. I'm just gonna do like 2 or 3. I don't want it to be overpowering, but it does add a nice aromatic floralness. Allspice is a huge one. We're gonna want a decent amount of allspice. Probably 2 pinches worth. But the main ones are going to be cinnamon and nutmeg. So I'm gonna do a 1/2 stick for this much. Just break that up, get that in there. Please use whole spices whenever you can. It's gonna be way better than the powdered. It's just gonna taste way better, especially when this syrup is so spice forward. Like fresh nutmeg, world's better than any spice you're gonna find. Let's grind this up. We'll do a pretty hefty dose of nutmeg. We want it to be pretty nutmeg forward. Oh, and we need clove. Can't forget clove. That would be the other like trifecta of 3 spices that are important in here that you want to make sure you can get in here. But pretty much any kind of warm spice you can think of is what you're going to want to put in this. I think we want even more nutmeg than that. We want a pretty heavy dosage. Then lastly, clove. Gonna do a pretty decent, probably about that much of clove. I feel like that's kind of the main ingredient of a ginger cookie. Okay, we'll give this a stir, get everything incorporated, and then we're gonna let this simmer for probably about 10 minutes. We want everything to blend and steep and get delicious. I have not made this syrup yet before, so this is a bit of an experiment, but it's always something I've wanted to try. I love a just straight ginger syrup. So this is pretty much building on a just plain ginger syrup and making it a bit more holiday, festive themed. Gosh, that does not smell like ginger. Okay, I smelled some spices now. I'm not smelling a bunch of spices, but I think this has just got to stew for a little bit. Well, while this is simmering, I'm going to get the sugar parts of the syrup ready. So we're doing a 1-to-1 ratio of water to sugar. And that sweetener is not going to be full sugar. It's going to be half molasses. I don't want to go full molasses because it's just... I've actually never had full molasses, like straight molasses. Yep, that's molasses. That's so rich. So we'll need 2 cups of sweetener for this total. I didn't want to do 2 full cups of molasses. 1, because it's expensive, and 2, I think that's just going to overpower the ginger and just be too much molasses. So I'm going to do 1 cup of molasses and 1 cup of sugar. I think that's going to balance things out. If you're saying to yourself, wait, couldn't you have just done brown sugar? 100%, you totally could. You are going to get a bit more of a natural molasses flavor with using real molasses than brown sugar. But that's all brown sugar is molasses and white sugar. So if that's all you have and you don't want to buy molasses, just use all brown sugar. And that's going to give you enough molasses flavor to taste gingerbready. Get our white sugar measured out. I never realized I say that word weird until you all mentioned it in the comments. But, you know, that's what happens here in Michigan is we say things weird. And I can't figure out how to say it differently, so you're stuck with it. I'm kind of eyeballing this because I don't have a measuring spoon. We'll just bring that up to 2 cups on our marker to match our water. Gosh, it's so thick. Okay, let's stir this up. think I'm gonna be so shocked when I find out I made brown sugar. This is gonna be fun to clean. Man, it's clumping like no business. But I guess that makes sense. Brown sugar. That's kind of good enough. We're gonna incorporate that into our syrup mixture. Blended and melded together. I'm okay if the sugar cooks a bit with the simple syrup. I think that's going to be okay with this one. I'm not going for a bright, clear flavor. So if it gets a little cooked sugar flavor, I actually think that's a good thing. Wow, that is very molasses heavy. I can smell it from up here. Let's see how this is all melting and incorporating here. It smells like a molasses gingerbread ginger snap cookie, which is what we're going for. Do not forget a heavy dose of salt is going to bring out all these flavors. You should be salting your simple syrups. I will say it a million times. I'll say it every time I make a syrup. Salt your simple syrups. Smelling it, I'm almost tempted to put a little more spice in there. I don't feel like it's gingery or spicy enough. Not spicy, but spiced enough. I guess let's taste it first, and then I can actually see here. It doesn't taste as molassesy as it smells, but it does taste more molassesy than using brown sugar, I think. But I do feel like it needs more ginger and spice. And everything nice. Okay, I got a little bit of the ginger kick, actually. But I do think it needs a smidge more spice. Let's do definitely some more allspice. Wish I could grind this up a bit, but I can't. And then a bit more clove. Yeah, a bit more clove. A couple more pods of cardamom. I think that's going to bring a bright floral note. That's not really there. Then a couple, just like one shell more of cinnamon. Just going to break this outer shell off. Do a couple shavings. Okay, I'm going to let that simmer for just a second. Get a little more flavor out of it. All right, I think that's had enough time to steep. We'll take it off the heat. Smells like a gingerbread cookie. In a good way, though. This is, feel like, not going to go well. Nope. There's a ton of stuff in the syrup, so it's hard to get it all out and not have it go everywhere with this tiny strainer. You know what? Not too bad. Well, that made a great mess, but I'm excited to try this in a latte. I feel like I'd only want to put this in a hot latte, but I'm sure you could try it iced when you make this at home, which I hope you do. And put in the comments, tell me how it is, because I'd be curious how it would be in an iced latte. You know what the delicious thing I made before? I forgot we did this. There's a video on this. We made windmill cookie lattes. We steeped milk with those windmill cookies. I know they're like a Midwestern thing, so you may not know what I'm talking about. But they're kind of like a almondy, nutmeggy, spiced cookie. And that was absolutely delicious. But nonetheless, let's make a latte with this. But anyways, let's make a latte with this. And I'm going to use our house blend for the espresso. This is just going to be a good balanced espresso. Some chocolate tasting notes to it. Really balanced. Just a good standard cup of coffee. That's what we're going to want with this gingerbread syrup, I think. We're going to make a latte with this. So while the espresso's brewing, I'm going to measure out an ounce of our gingerbread syrup. That is just beautifully thick and delicious and molassesy, obviously. So I'm going to add my espresso right in. I really want that syrup to meld with the espresso, kind of melt a little bit since it's a little thicker than normal. Then we'll load up 8 ounces of milk and steam. That espresso and syrup already smells super good. I think this is going to be a home run. I think I might have overdone the milk on this. It's so hard to get good milk on this machine. I think my milk actually looks decent enough to get some latte art out of this. Barring my latte art skills, that is. Let's pour this. Okay, the moment of truth. That was not great milk and terrible technique. But either way, I have a gingerbread syrup latte. It's got real molasses, fresh ginger, and then it's steeped with all those delicious fresh spices, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, all those delicious things that makes gingerbread so good. So let's give this a try. That's really good. It's got that dark dark molasses flavor that you just don't get from brown sugar. So I know I said earlier you can use brown sugar, and you can, but you can really taste that dark, just molasses flavor in the back end. But you still get that fresh bite of the ginger, and then just subtly those spices. It's really good. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. But it literally almost tastes like I'm taking a bite out of a molasses cookie. That might be one of the best syrups I've ever made. That's good. This is perfect on a winter menu. Like absolutely perfect. You've got that. It's just everything you want in a winter latte. It's dark, it's spiced, it's got that caramely molassesy note from the molasses again. If you're a coffee shop watching this, you just pair this with just a little mini disc of a gingerbread cookie, or sprinkle this with nutmeg or cinnamon or clove or any of those ground spices, and you've got a winner for your winter menu. That is dang good. The flavor is just so complex, so complex. It's so layered. It's just layered perfectly from all the different elements of the syrup. That's good. This test was an absolute success. There's actually, I'm gonna put a link to the recipe to this syrup so you can make it at home. It's not impossible to make delicious coffee at home, and that's what we're dedicated at, is teaching you how to do that here at Battle Creek Coffee Roasters, so you can skip the line at Starbucks and make even better coffee for way cheaper at home. And this is something you're gonna wanna make over the holidays this season. So check that link in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. There's gonna be more and more recipes like this. Even this one is part of our giant winter menu test. So make sure you subscribe and check out that playlist and drink good coffee. Cheers.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.